Disclosure Day, the new Steven Spielberg film is finally out, and I had a chance to go see a press screening for this film, and it's finally great to see Steven Spielberg back on the big screen. The film goes as follows. A meteorologist and a cybersecurity expert find themselves at the center of a movement to expose the government's cover-up of extraterrestrial secrets. This film stars Emily Blunt, Coleman Domingo, Colin Firth, Josh O'Connor, Wyatt Russell, Eve Hewson. This film is going to be coming out on June 12th this week, and I'm going to give my non-spoiler review of this movie. Now, if you know Steven Spielberg, again, one of the, best film directors of all time. We talk about films like E.T., Close Encounters, all other films that he has done over the course of his career. He has a cinematic vision and perspective when he is directing, even when he might even be producing and giving feedback to other film directors. But one thing about Steven Spielberg is that he is a fan of science fiction and he's a fan of aliens, right? But this movie, even though it dives into aliens, is more about, again, the title Disclosure Day. Is how are we going to reveal a secret that we've been holding for decades out to the public? How are the people going to respond to it? How's humanity going to respond? And basically, this whole film kind of leading up to this, as government is trying to get secrets of this data that this cybersecurity expert, plays by Josh O'Connor, in this movie, and he has basically secrets of basically the government holding the secret of that we are not alone in the universe, right? And but then we also get Emily Blunt, who is a news reporter, weather reporter, and she's also connected into this story, as you'll find out later on in this movie. But the main thing I love about in this movie, obviously with the leads with Josh O'Connor, but really with Emily Blunt, I believe that Emily Blunt gave a fantastic performance in this, in terms of how she's going through physical changes, in terms of this movie, or her speech and things going on as this crisis is kind of building up, and in terms of this anticipation throughout this movie. And you see her that she's constantly changing her mood, changing her body language in certain scenes, even speaking in different languages as well, in a way, when you actually understand the context of the story, that her performance and the way she's able just to grab you as an audience, or as you every time you see her on screen, I think is a testament to her as an actress. And again, she's been incredible. But I do believe she might even probably get nominations, Oscar nominations, for her performance as Margaret in this movie. And she definitely owned every single scene that she was in this movie. And also you got Coleman Domingo, supporting actor, who's also trying to get to the point of actually disclosing this information, no pun intended, to the world. And you have Colin Firth, who's playing the antagonist, who's part of representing the feds, who are trying to obtain the secret. But I really like the dialogue that was in this film about the questions that it posed to you, the audience, you, the watcher, in terms of if there is life beyond our earth, how did that conflict with people who believe in a higher power or supreme being? And when you realize that maybe that you're not the supreme being, right? There's level, can be level of fear, can be level of anxiety and uncertainty, but how that's going to how are people going to respond to that? And I felt that Steven Spielberg, in the way that he's paced this movie, I do believe that the beginning is kind of slow, because you're kind of waiting for the big payoff and the buildup of or really the answers to your questions. You're like, okay, where are these aliens? Where are they coming from? What is going on? Are some of these people aliens themselves? You don't know, right? And I feel like maybe the first act of this movie was kind of a little bit slow, but it starts to pick up, because the best way I can explain this is one of my favorite films, Will Smith, Enemy of the State. A very espionage film. Someone has confidential information, and basically multiple people are trying to go after him to obtain this information, right? But this is to the same extent of that film, Enemy of the State, but with aliens, but with more of the what you're trying to expose is really the truth of what's been happening over for many decades, and there might be even some truth to that what's happening in the real world today, with UFOs, with the government, Area 51, and all the media manipulation in terms of us exposing the truth and how we respond to information and news broadcasting, and when that truth is revealed, how are we going to respond in real time? And I felt that to me was very fascinating, just in terms of asking those questions, but also just along for the ride. Again, there's not a lot of action in this movie, but it definitely feel like action packed in terms of the situations they have to go through in terms of like this race to get to the mass public with this information, right? But also allowing also dramatic scenes and allowing the pacing to pause and let us sit with these characters and why they're doing what they're doing, their motivations, and particularly with Colin Firth, who is like quote unquote the villain in this movie. But along with not only in terms of the cinematography and the action, really the music of this film, John Williams is back again. John Williams, one of my favorite composers. We're talking about Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and all of that. Again, and everything with Steven Spielberg. John Williams adds that level of gravitas to this movie with his score. And as we're getting to space of with aliens, you get a sense of wonder and exploration with the music, and the music is somewhat telling a story as you're discovering the details and the truth that is revealed in this movie. And it's just kind of, and also giving me flashbacks to me watching E.T. and watching old science fiction films that I grew up as a kid, that reminded me again why I love cinema and why I love the movies. And I feel for you, when you go see this movie, you will also enjoy this film as well. There's not much I can really say about the details and spoilers, but I do believe that again, the main point of this movie of that if there are extraterrestrial secrets that the government is holding, how is the general public going to respond? And people are striving to actually reveal those answers. And again, there are definitely some plot devices that are in this movie that and decisions that are made as we go transition to the second and third act of this movie, where you're asking questions like, well, that's very stupid, why would a person do that? And there's moments in this movie, but not to a point where it became overly frustrating where it took me out of the movie. But I just this is a good film to see on the big screen in IMAX, I believe. And definitely a Steven Spielberg fan, I don't think you'll be disappointed, but I do believe some people are not going to, depending on, I should say, your perspective of how you process movies and process when some films leave you unanswered questions and leave like in very ambiguous endings. It might turn you off after you finish watching this movie. But then for some of you, like, oh my god, cinema, right? and then that might be for you. For me, I'm kind of like in the middle where I'm like, yeah, there's some unanswered questions, but at the same time, I'm still just blown away and just happy to see Steven Spielberg back on the big screen, directing a science fiction film with that. And I'm glad also the trailers did not reveal much about this movie whatsoever. I love that. I loved it. I love it. And because we need to get back, because eventually a lot of movie trailers will be exposing a lot more than they need to be. And me personally, I felt like this film, the marketing of this movie was very ambiguous, and I think it was intentional. Once you go see this movie on June 12th in a theater near you, make sure you hit the subscribe button, comment, like, and share. Once you see Disclosure Day, let me know what your thoughts in the comment section down below. All right, guys. See you guys in the next video. Peace.